Hi, welcome to Inner Growth. Healing is a Journey. I'm Wendy Rodriguez, and today's video was a request. And so someone asked me to do a video based on emotion code. Emotion code is some type of energy work that you can start doing. Anybody can do it, get certified. I've been doing muscle testing on myself for the last 2 years, and I just recently, I'm getting certified in January, getting my certificate from an actual program that you can do, like a course that you could do that teaches you how to do emotion code. Emotion code is just a different type of modality that also involves energy work. Energy work can be so many different pathways. I personally think emotion code is just very surface, like just scratching the very bare minimum, but I think it's an awesome way to introduce people who aren't believers or feel like energy work is witchcraft, or energy work is religious, which it's not. All types of energy work, in my thought process, is quantum physics, and quantum physics is science. And so it doesn't necessarily matter who or what or where you believe in, because at the end of the day, you don't have to be religious, so you don't have to believe in anything, honestly, for it to work. You don't have to be any type of anything. So it works on everybody and anybody. It works on animals, it works on people. And so I guess I've been sitting here trying to figure out what is the best way to describe it. And also I've been thinking there are going to be a lot of people disagreeing with me, and I'm a little nervous about that, but this is part of my YouTube channel, is to be uncomfortable and kind of just share my truth and hope for the best, And so the way that I do a session, to begin with emotion code, is I meet up with a person, whether in person or over the phone, like on FaceTime, or I can even call them over the phone, or if they give me permission, I can just do it, by proxy, so using myself and connecting with them and releasing all those emotions that they have. Whatever anybody feels comfortable with, I'm always happy to accommodate. So let's kind of go through a first session with me. I usually, meet the person, describe kind of what I'm doing, and then we kind of do the first session, and that's kind of how it goes. So what I like to really stress is that the first session, I want the person to decide as much as possible what we're going to work on. A lot of people that I have done, so I've done 30 volunteers, a lot of them, this is the very first time being introduced to any type of energy work in general. So again, a lot of them have their beliefs or truths about what energy work is. Sometimes it's negative, sometimes it's positive, but at some point they got drawn to me to come and help them and guide them through their healing journey. And so when that happens, emotion code, like I said, is the best way to introduce, because it's just very surface. Like, you get an emotion and then it can get deeper, but it's usually just like, this emotion, all right, let's clear it. This emotion, let's clear it, So what I personally do in my session is I like to ask them, what are 3 challenges that you've had in the last, little bit, or what's one thing that you just can't seem to like wrap your head around? So a lot of the issues that usually come up are anxiety or depression, or, anger at a certain person, or relationships with people in general, family, friends, career, And so I ask them, pick 3, pick the top 3, and from there, like, I can test your body. So when I test people's body, I usually have them do it with their arm. So their arm's out like this, and I push down on their wrist with 2 fingers like this. So usually when something is true, your whole body will think it's congruent. It should be congruent to everything. And so then your arm should go hard, should go very, very strong. When I push down on it, it should go strong and firm. If your answer is false, then it should go a little bit weak. I should be able to push it down with ease. You can watch videos on this. They describe it a million times, like, deeper and detailed. And so, but like, I usually start with the baseline. So my name is Wendy Rodriguez, right? My name is Wendy Rodriguez. And so it should go really hard. my name is Bob, and it should go week. And I always start with the baseline because every person is different. Every yes and no is different, and so I need to gauge kind of how it's going to feel a yes and how is it going to feel a no. And then from there we kind of get going. And so I use your body. Your body is the one I ask the questions, your body answers. So when people are like, oh, like, how did you know that? And I was like, I really didn't know that. Like, I just barely met you. But your body is the one that's answering the question. So you knew that. And your body wanted you to become more aware of it and actually call it by name, right? So an emotion will pop up like abandonment or something. So it needs it to be called by name. And then from there, you're able to release it. So once we have the baseline settled and everything, then what we do is I have an emotion code chart, and it has a ton of emotions, right? And so I muscle test and ask, is it in column A, is it in column B, is it an even, is it odd row? So there's rows and columns, right? And so from there I can gauge which emotion is your body that's wanting to come about, depending on the issue that we're working on. So let's say out of the 3, depression was the strongest one, that like your body needs to release this right now. So we go get depression, write it down. This is the issue we're working on. At a scale from 1 to 10, how severe is this? And I could muscle test you, or you could just tell me. So usually it's like at a 9 or a 10, we go there. And then from there, then I ask, is there a trapped emotion that has to do with this specific emotion? And then from there, it's either yes or no, and then we kind of start working. And the session kind of takes us here and there and everywhere. And so I just allow the session to kind of go as it may. And usually people are, like in the first session at least, they're a little bit reluctant and just very like nervous, apprehensive, and they feel like, a lot of people that I've actually noticed is like I would say all human beings to some extent have that, like, I want to do this right in their mind, like they have that program, like I need to do this, I need to be good, I need to, figure it out. And so I think the first session, depending on the person, they kind of force it. They like want to do a great job at it, right? And it's not about doing a great job or doing a bad job. It honestly is just allowing your body to kind of connect with you and communicate these things with you, because it's just so ready to release this, right? And so when you call it by name, when I say abandonment at age 3, sometimes people don't remember, like age 3, I don't remember being abandoned, and so that's completely fine. Whether you remember or you don't remember, now that I've called it by name, it will be from here to here, right? And so then I'm able to release it no matter what. Sometimes it's interesting, or some clients do want to move forward with asking more questions and get deeper into why or where. And the important thing that I say is like, when an age comes up, don't think about it as yourself now. So I'm 26, and so if an emotion abandonment at 3 years old would come up, I'd be like 26, like abandonment, like, oh, I didn't get abandoned when I was 3. But if you go into 3-year-old Wendy Rodriguez, I can sit there and be like, oh my God, my parents left me in the car when I was 3 when they went grocery shopping. Whether or not that's abandonment to anybody else or a 26-year-old, it was just like, oh, they just went to the store, At 3 years old, that could be a major trauma for someone, to be left in the car and like crying and feel like you got forgotten, And so that's where I always ask all my clients, like, really go back to that age and get into that mindset to see like what you were doing or what you were, and feel those emotions, so that we are able to release them a lot stronger. That's my approach. A lot of other energy workers do it differently, and it works for them, but this way is the way that I've seen the most, the strongest type of release for all of my clients. So we go, through those emotions. Sometimes I actually redirect the person. So depending on, like, let's say you only want to do one and only session, and what my suggestions to those people are like, what if this is the only session you're gonna have with me, what is one issue that you can take away from this and actually be helped 100% with, you know? So most people would be like, my relationship with my mom or my relationship with my dad. And so then from there, we can work on that. And usually, you know, it feels so good or it works super great and they start feeling empowered that they will do a second session. But if they don't, then at least you help them with that issue, or maybe it wasn't their time. And so then in a year or so or two, maybe you won't be the energy healer, but someone else will come along and they would feel comfortable enough to do that, right? But there's also a heart wall that you can clear up. A heart wall is exactly how it sounds. It's a wall around your heart. And usually the way I like to describe it actually is like when we're born, we are the closest to source, right? And the closest thing to source would be your heart, I would suggest. And so when you're born, you know, you're super close and connected to source, whatever that may be. And then slowly but surely things start happening to you. So then you start blocking your heart off because there's traumas, there's things that you need to protect. You need to protect your heart, right? And so you start building these emotional walls, emotional, energetic walls. And so from there, then like in my experience, I believe that anybody that has a heart wall usually either has a ton of anxiety because they have so many emotions pent up that they're trying to feel at the same time, or they're numb. So something will happen to them and they're like, that's just life. Like that just happens to me all the time. Like, I don't care, it's whatever, like it doesn't matter to me. Like that type of like numbness and just not wanting to deal. They're so numb to the pain because they're so blocked off to actually feeling. I've spoken about this before in many of my other videos, and your heart has a brain just as like your head has a brain, you know? And so your heart brain always knows, and that's the most important thing, and the fastest way to figure out whether something is good or bad, right? And or whether something serves you or doesn't. I should say that, whether it serves you or doesn't. So we can go based off that too. So if I come to a session and I say, do you want to work on these 3 issues, or do you want to do the heart wall? So usually people are very open to me just muscle testing them and seeing what is best for them. They don't usually come up with anything. But if they do, then that's totally great. Some people are totally just like, what is a heart wall? Like that's too like, ooh, you know? And so then they don't do that, which is totally fine. Totally fine. It's your time, it's your session, it's whatever you think. That pretty much covers the basis of emotion code. It releases emotions from specific traumas, and it allows you, I personally think, it allows you to be able to feel more and be more connected to your body and actually listen to your body a lot more, because people become amazed about how they're like, oh, how did you know this? And it's like, it's literally you. You are the one that is helping you. I'm just facilitating that. And I'm just like kind of like the communicator, like link to talk to you, or your body talks to me, then I talk to it. Does that make sense? And once you start building that spiritual or emotional or energetic senses a little bit more, then you already can do all of this by yourself. This is all possible. The reason why I think I share this with everyone is because I've practiced it a little bit more, and I like to be the facilitator to helping people become aware that they're actually very empowered and they can do this by themselves and they don't need anybody, you know, like they have that within themselves. And so it's like the journey of starting to like really work those like mental blocks and really know that like you don't have to, you know, go outside of yourself to find the answers, because you're the one giving me the answers, and that's why I know, because you already know. Does that make sense? So I am working on a ton of different things besides emotion code, also having to do with energy work that can really clear a lot of things that are possibly holding you into being where you are at now, like kind of stuck and everything like that. So there's millions and millions of, I wouldn't say, well, probably millions and millions of different pathways and levels of energy work that people do. Just as much as there's good, there's also people that use it in a completely different way, kind of more selfish and all that stuff. And so when people have the misconception that all energy workers are like voodoo or like witchcraft or gonna like put a spell on someone, you know, like again, it's quantum physics, guys. It really, truly, I mean, you can make it religious just depending on the type of person you are, but it is definitely, it's almost like anything, right? Like if you misuse it, it's not gonna serve a lot of people. But if you use it the proper way, it can heal and help so many people. So I think that's pretty much how it sums up, like emotion code itself. Like I said, when you do a session with me, I will talk to you about a ton of different things that I've been working on to see if you're open, depending on the person and where they are in their journey. Emotion code could be very beneficial for like a whole year, and then maybe they'll want to be open up to, body code or different things that way. Body code is a different type of certification that really deals with like actual body imbalances, so like parasites and fungus and metabolic things and chemical things and allergies and all that stuff. So there's like a deeper way energetically to find that. There's also just tons and tons and tons of different things, but I guess I'll just leave you with that as of right now. I was kind of nervous to do this specific video because I feel like it's kind of opening myself up to a lot of judgment, because I know the people that watch this video. That's okay. It's all good. At some point I would have to start saying it anyways, because that's my passion and what I do. And like I said, every energy worker is completely different. So what I'm telling you is my truth, but you can go to a different energy healer and it might be their truth, like other things. But I'm still a firm believer that you're drawn to people for a reason. So the people that do come to me client-wise, there's something that I have to tell them that maybe someone else couldn't have said it in that same way, or it wouldn't have hit the same, right? And so I think that there's plenty of abundance for everybody and anybody. So if anybody's interested in doing, energy work, I'd say do it. Like, yeah, there's a ton of people, but there's only one you. So go for it. If you're interested in it, you start practicing and doing all this stuff, and we can all do it. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very, very, very informative, so that you know exactly what I do or what I'm starting to do. If you need or if you want an appointment, please let me know, message me or whatnot. I love you all. Have a beautiful day today. Remember that you are unconditionally loved, unconditionally valued, and unconditionally enough by just being you.